first album? So it was Mountains, Arrival, and
First it was SOS, and then Mountains, and now Arrival.
that kind of sounds like a journey in itself. Right?
I mean,
it's
it's
like
fantastic.
but then it's like, all right, I'm climbing these mountains, or I have mountains, and then
Yeah, pretty much.
and then I arrive.
Yeah. Well,
Talk about that, yeah.
So one of the biggest things that I've kind of focused on and have kind of where these albums have been kind of an outlet for me is, so I've had my own struggles with mental health, anxiety, and depression and things like that. And even before I really kind of, I think, understood, knew it, I was kind of letting that out, right? So Mountains was the one where I really kind of started to get more specific about that.
Yeah,
in fact, there's a tune on there on Mountains called Rescue that literally speaks specifically to the way that I feel and the way that I perceive anxiety and depression, my experience of it.
Yeah.
So that's really kind of the, I guess,
the theme.
And yeah, a little. It's a main theme that I have throughout my records and my songs and stuff like that, for sure.
That's who you reach out to. So Preach with Prak, we also try to reach out to. It's a wellness channel, but not just exercising and looking. It's about the inner.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're working on the inner as
well.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. So for the longest time, like pretty much most of my adult life, I've struggled with this, and with anxiety and depression specifically. Struggles with mental health and everything. And I was very reluctant to go talk to anyone, go seek therapy or anything like that, because as a man, just in the culture in general, you kind of try to, you're told to suck it up, just kind of, keep it moving, just do the best you can or whatever, and just swallow that stuff, And it was kind of it got to a point where it was kind of eating away at me so much that I was just you know what, I'm just gonna talk to somebody, I'm just gonna do it. And it's been, a tremendous blessing for me. Over the last almost year or so, I've been speaking with a therapist and everything, okay. and it's been a huge help for me. It's been life changing, honestly. So what's been fun and interesting is the way to see how that's kind of reflected in my music. Of course, there's still there's the difficulty of life. Life is still challenging, which
it's
is
your
why
attitude towards it.
Exactly, right. So my attitude and just the feeling as well too. I do, I've always been, I like to think a positive person, but there has just been more of a I feel more worked out, for lack of a better word, so. And I feel like the music has reflected that. Honestly, it seems like it's a little more kind of put together. It's a little more, just slightly more positive. A little more just
optimistic.
Yeah, it's for sure.
Hopeful.
That's the best word. Optimistic. So it's more of that. So I'm really kind of glad to see how that's kind of developed. Yeah. And that's again just kind of been a focal point. It's just kind of been the way that it kind of worked out. So yeah.
Could we talk?
Let me go ahead and give a quick shout out to Crescendo Studios. If you are a resident of the DC, Maryland, Virginia area looking for a professional studio, a music school for yourself or your child, or looking to join, perform, and collaborate with local artists, Crescendo Studios is the studio for you. Crescendo has first-class equipments for your sound productions, the best music instructors the area can offer, and the studio also regularly hosts open mic events and Nova Traffic Jam. So, want to connect with Crescendo? Reach out to the team of Your Soul Shall Network and Bo for your moment at Crescendo. Want more of Preach with Prak? How about you go ahead and subscribe to our Rise and Shine to Your Purpose newsletter, available only on preachwithprak.com. Here I'll provide you a weekly message to guide you throughout the week and check in with you with a wellness questionnaire. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe to Rise and Shine to Your Purpose newsletter, available only on preachwithprak.com. Finding our purpose is like finding a root on the ground. Initially, you are unable to tell what that root is meant to do. But when you give it the opportunity to grow, to bloom, when you give it the time, care, and attention, you will see what that root is meant to be all along.